Good morning, Esther Lynn with the ACLU. We just heard a disturbing account of a deputy who was arrested with engaging in sexual misconduct with 2 women in Syria while on duty. This unfortunately is not the first time sexual misconduct has occurred. In late 2015, reports of custody staff in criminal courthouse was accused of sexual misconduct against numerous women as well. The Prison Rape Elimination Act was passed with unanimous support from both parties in Congress back in 2003, and the final rule after DOJ review became effective in 2012. The Sheriff's Department has yet to finalize its PREA policies once the ACLU has provided suggestions and edits to the draft proposals over a year ago. The responses given to both ACLU and Just Detention International, an organization contracted to assist the Sheriff's Department become PREA ready, is that the policies are still in signature phase. It's been in signature phase for over a year. Most recently, CRDF failed its mock PREA audit and is preparing for another one in October. In preparation for the mock, CRDF has begun some training of its staff. However, without the full policy available, leaves staff with no real structure or direction, and people who are incarcerated are left even more vulnerable. Sexual misconduct and rape, unfortunately, is something that occurs in our jails. Rape is preventable, and PREA is just one way to protect the individuals in there. I ask that this commission inquire into the status of PREA's full implementation and demand that the Sheriff's Department ensures the facilities are at PREA standard by finalizing its policies and its training.
Good morning. And I wasn't expecting to speak on this, so I'm going to try to gather my thoughts as best I can, but I just wanted to echo what some of the commissioners were saying in terms of treating this as just, one incident in a much bigger problem, which is what it is. And the reason I'm speaking on this is because part of what we've been doing
3C, put your name and give it to the speaker.
Lying Coalition is looking at how sexual assault has been taking
I can't,
place,
Nick, I got to record.
In the LAPD, and looking at that in light of the cadet program specifically. And I know also the Explorer program has also been having issues with sexual assault occurring. So this incident now of a deputy assaulting folks inside a jail, this kind of, you could see it as like, oh, this is something that happened and this is how we dealt with it. But it is part of a bigger picture of what we see of sexual assault taking place within law enforcement agencies. And it's actually happening across the country. And if you look back and you look for patterns of it, you do see patterns. You do see how agencies are having sexual assault cases occur over and over again. So the bigger question is, how is this happening and how are folks responding to it? And how are folks responding to it in a way that actually allows it to continue? When we looked at the LAPD and kind of tracked the history back over 43 years, we saw this cadet that has recently been raped, this 15-year-old. She was actually the 29th person to be raped within that program, going back since the 60s. But no one knew that. Everyone was very surprised to hear that. And that's because every time it happens, we kind of bury it by pretending that, like, oh, this is an isolated incident, and this is what we're doing, and it's just one bad apple. Or some of the things we hear are sexual assault takes place everywhere, or predators occur in every institution. But what we want to actually look at is, how has this been actually occurring, and then how are we protecting it when we don't identify it as part of the bigger picture and we actually excuse it away as just being an isolated incident. Thank you.
Folks. All right, so it said Sheriff Department update, and this is what happens if Brady versus Maryland is not respected. So that needs to go like immediately. It says Sheriff Department update though, and there's a couple other things that are missing. For example, you're not recognizing that the sheriff took a stern and strong stance against Senate Bill 54, a piece of legislation which was shoved through the state legislature, which is going to ensure that more lives within the jails as well as outside are put in danger. And the fact of the matter is, you need to be taking a strong stance to stand by your sheriff, in addition to not only the Brady Act being recognized and that court case being affirmed, but to ensure that our governor doesn't put more innocent civilians at risk in the jails and outside. Yeah, because I'm not the first person who will say to you that you have people in those jail cells who shouldn't be in there. Yeah, I said it. And the fact of the matter is that you need to be standing with the sheriff, ensuring that the governor vetoes Senate Bill 54 to ensure that we don't have more innocent lives lost. I have a sign over there that has a picture of Jamil Shaw Jr., who was murdered by an illegal alien gangbanger. I thought that Black Lives Matter, but his life didn't matter to the leadership in this city. That needs to be addressed. There are a lot of black lives being killed by illegals. Chanel Temple's more of the expert on it. I just learned that we didn't just have fire bombings in Boyle Heights. There have been blacks targeted in Harbor City, and there was even a firebombing in my own city of Torrance. I never heard about that. The sheriff needs to have the full resources to go after these thugs, and that means a full stance and a veto to Senate Bill 54. You need to affirm that. Our sheriff has had to beg the federal government to ensure that they don't cut funding. Senate Bill 54 gets signed. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is going to follow through on the same discipline action that you've talked about in principle. When a state is wayward and doesn't protect its citizens, it doesn't deserve any money. And when sheriff deputies violate their authority and rape innocent victims, they need to be held accountable too. Thank you.
I would just like to piggyback on what Arthur was saying. There's two sides to a story. You know we got bad shirts. We also have good shirts too. Okay. There's two sides to a story. I want to first address the story about the rape. Keep in mind, there's two sides to a story. And there are people out there that will entice, different people to gain access to certain things. So keep that in mind. Also about the situation about how all the kids were released over the border. The elephant in the room no one wants to talk about. These kids were released without any parents. What did they think would happen to these kids? So again, there's two sides to a story. And I stand for the sheriff. Law enforcement is the last line of protection that we have. We have none right now as American citizens, because we have been invaded, and it's unfair. We have a right to be for equal protection under the law per the Constitution, and we are not getting that at the expense of taxpayers' money. Just like Arthur mentioned, SB 54, I was an expert witness in Sacramento. This is unconstitutional. My ex-husband was an immigrant. It took him over 10 years to get his citizenship. All we're asking is that you do it the right way and that you come to this country legally. Then when you get over here, you want to whine and complain about we're doing crimes to you. What about the crimes that you're doing to us? You need to keep that in mind. Again, there's two sides to a story, and I stand to support our law enforcement. Again, they are the last line of defense. They're being killed too. They're being killed too by illegal criminals that's coming over here. Sheriffs have a lot. They're people too. They are. Again, there's good sheriffs and there's bad sheriffs, and in my sight, there's mainly good sheriffs.
Okay, so we're trying to address the issue of the report of sexual assault.
You don't care about this black life? I don't. What someone said about Black Lives Matter. You don't care about Jamil Shaw?
One last speaker, I believe it's Kay.
They don't care about Jamil Jr.
They sit up here and do this stuff on purpose and entice these men.
And that this guy's a bigot right here.
How about they released all those kids? Nobody said nothing. They let all those kids come in.
Donald Trump in a national protest nationwide on January 21st this year. 700,000 men and women of all races, mostly white, because I was there protesting against Donald Trump, marched in LA against Donald Trump's sexist, racist,
Nope.
white nationalist
Lie.
attitude.
Lie.
He is what's wrong with America.
Lie.
Don't love America until all of its problems are repaired, fixed. We have a right to constitutionally protest.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else on the sexual assault on inmate issue? Yes, Mr. Miller.
That guy's a bigot.
I would like to make a motion to officially request that the sheriff move from signature phase of PREA by the end of 2017. I don't want to go into 2018 years with PREA still in implementation.
Discussion?
Nick.
Let me ask, just as a question, where is it now?